Former President Donald Trump. It's been 2 weeks, guys. What a 2 weeks it's been. Started off facing tough questions right after last week's episode from ABC's Rachel Scott at the NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists Convention, which we told them was a bad idea, and led to this heated exchange after a brief introduction.
We have a lot to get to, and we do not want to waste any time, so let's bring out the former president of the United States, the Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump. Rachel Scott, BBC. Thank you. How are you? Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country.
And that was just a start. I mean, it got really nasty. And just to note, he went on to disparage Rachel Scott from ABC about being late. And the reason the event took place a half an hour late was because of equipment. Turns out that some reporting was done on that. And it was late because they were negotiating whether or not to have the live fact checking available. Trump apparently did not want that to go on, so he was holding off. And actually, NABJ at one point had written up a statement to release to people saying that President Trump was just not going to be able to join because he didn't want the fact checking. Trump and his team relented eventually, and that's why he made it onto the stage 35 minutes late. Rachel Scott also grilled Donald Trump on controversial statements about black leaders and his support for January 6 rioters, which prompted Trump to lash out, calling the questions nasty and rude, and also got him caught in a little bit of a double standard.
President, I would love to ask you about January 6th. You've called yourself the candidate of law and order. Yeah. When Time Magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely. Sure. You called them patriots. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well, let me bring it back to modern day. Like about 5 days ago, we had an attack on the Capitol. They viciously attacked our government. They fought with police. They fought with them much more openly than I saw on January 6th. What's going to happen to those people? What's going to happen to the people in Portland that destroyed that city?
But sir, my question is on those.
What's going to happen to the people that tried to bring...
My question is on those rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to
would you pardon those
people? What's going to happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just well, they were convicted by a very tough system. They were...
Well,
that pivoting, that boy know how to pivot.
Well, he also questioned whether or not Kamala, or when Kamala, I should say, became black.
Then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
Give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition of
Sir,
that.
I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn, and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is...
I think somebody should look into that, too, when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
really don't
have
know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some.
Could be. There are some.
There are some. It's crazy. It's insane. You're saying that in front of a group of black people. Guys, Trump sparring with Rachel Scott from the NABJ, I'm supposed to say festival conference. It seemed like a festival there. Do you feel like her tone was inciting for Trump? Do you feel like Trump overreacted? And what sort of consequences do you think this is going to have for Trump's campaign? Because he is kind of free falling right now.
I will start by saying I do think she should have done an intro of some kind, let him speak and say hello.
She said, "Thank you for coming."
She did come out swinging there. You got to ease people like Trump in. He's old. And I don't think it'll hurt his campaign in any way. I think at this point, realistically, the people who are voting for Trump are voting for Trump, and the people who aren't. And we're just dragging this thing along. I don't think there's anyone who saw that and was like, oh, that's shocking behavior from Trump. I'm not going to vote for him anymore. The things that he said, black jobs, DEI hire, he feels that way about people. And
he said it to our face, honestly.
You either care or you don't. Because you're not surprised, though. He's been doing this for as long as we've known there was a Donald Trump. So that's not something that's surprising anyone. They just either you care or you don't at this point.
Bill, what's your take on Donald Trump going and the results? Because we talked about, me and Dex kind of ranted about this right before it happened, the day before it. How do you think the outcome ended up working out for all parties involved?
It's actually interesting to me that the people who sort of put this festival together, as it were, right? That a lot of the members who were showing up didn't know that this was happening, didn't have a chance to rebuff them. There was no sort of like, hey, we're thinking about doing this, so if you don't want to come, it was just like, this is what we're doing. You don't like it, stay home. Even though I just spent $1 million on like these plane tickets when planes are falling out of the sky, and I got to sit in here and people are like sniggling and clapping. The idea that black people are actually supporting Donald Trump is a mind-boggling concept to me. I don't even know.
People don't really have the same moral structure that we have, and I think that's all.
Since God gave a pan of dishwater, because you don't have to have a moral structure to not support the man. You literally just have to have the sense God gave a fruit fly to understand. The man ranted and said he wanted to shut down the Department of Education. He put Betsy DeVos in office as the Secretary of Education. He put Sasha Barrett, Amy Cohen in the Supreme Court. The girl has never even ruled over an order of French fries. She's on the Supreme Court until she dies.
For now.
For now. We saw some amendments coming down. We'll see how they do.
Dex, how do you feel about the conference and the outcome of this? Was it better or worse than you thought it was going to be?
I think it was exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I thought they tried to do this whole gotcha moment, and I knew that that's what they were going to try to do, and I think they failed, and I think that they failed the people who are going to be potentially voting or not voting against him. You started this off by saying people didn't want you here, yet he's sitting there with you, but then ran out of time when it came to talk about Project 2025, which is something that you actually should be talking about because that affects us currently. But you didn't. You decided to do the whole "I'm going to get you." And like he got back with you because that's what Donald Trump does. But you asked him no type of hard questions. Then you're asking him about DEI when you really could have been having a conversation about JD Vance.
Oh, okay. You ate. Okay.
When Will strung his stuff together, I was like, let me see if I can do it.